Hi, this is Cheryl with Meet the Fam at Glad Tidings. So much fun. I love getting to interview people and share who they are. Today, you get to meet Julie Carter. She's my dear friend for a lot of years. How many years have we known each other, Julie?
30?
30 years.
Good 30.
Crazy. How old is Chloe?
She will be 22.
So Chloe is one of the worship leaders. You hear her if you're watching GT. She's up front. That's Julie's precious daughter. And Sabash, our IT guy, always says she sings like an angel. It's just like you could hear heaven sing. And it's true. It's just beautiful. So her daughter is the little blonde that's up on the platform. And how would they know who she was?
She also does youth.
Yeah, she does youth.
Yeah.
But the online people, how are they going to know who Chloe is?
Well, she has short hair now. It used to be longer, and she chopped it all off. But
Yep.
she's when she worships a lot, she's on her knees a lot.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
And she stands sideways.
Yes, she does stand sideways.
She's the one that wears a sweatshirt.
Yeah. And her camo.
And a camo. She stands sideways, but she is a beautiful worshiper. So that is your daughter. So I've known them since before Chloe even came into
early
concept.
90s.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy. It's amazing. So anyway, you're all going to get to hear some of her life, some of her journey with Jesus, and she is behind all the Embassy Green stuff that happens, and a lot of it's her brainchild. She's like, can we do this? Can we do this? And I'm always like, you want to do one more thing? And she's like, yes, I love this.
I love to be creative.
She's very creative. And we were just talking, and she said, you spoke over me, and my grandma spoke over me, and different people prophesied over you about children. Tell us a little bit about that. And are you still involved with children?
So probably 28 years ago, I went to a conference that we had, a women's conference that was in Sacramento by the fair.
Okay.
At a hotel.
Gotcha.
And you spoke over me that I would always have kids. And at the time, Bailey was 2. And then I had 2 little older boys. And I thought, kids forever? Are you kidding me? And then
funny.
After that, my grandma, like 10 years ago when she passed away, she spoke a bunch of words over me before she passed. And she said, the Lord knows your heart and that you love babies and you will always have babies. So I didn't know exactly what that meant.
What does that look like? Yeah.
Then during Liz Wright, one of the team from Bethel, came out in the foyer when I was doing registration and asked if he could pray over me. And that was one of the things he said was, the Lord sees your heart for children.
Oh my goodness.
So, and I love the littles, and everybody who knows me knows that I love babies and
that
the toddlers.
Yep. If that means if you visit, if you don't go to Glad Tidings, if you're watching online, some of our online family come to visit sometimes. If you want to meet Julie, you'll either find her with the microgreens or the babies.
Yep, the microgreens are in the nursery.
In the babies nursery.
Yep.
Yeah, she'll be holding the babies, and she does a lot of that. You're in there a lot, aren't you?
I love that. I could sit all day long in a rocking chair and hold a baby.
It's amazing. Anyway, Julie is a delight, and she's got a lot of vision for the microgreens. But let's back up. We'll leave that for the end. Let's back up and do your life journey. Has life always been easy? Like now you're always just like so excited and look, we're going to do this and that. What about the young years growing up? How was that?
My young years growing up were good. I have a good spiritual generational heritage.
You do.
My grandma praying, my mom praying, and
praying mama that I know. I love her.
And a praying grandma.
Wow.
So that's like huge.
It is huge. So you have 4 generations that are right there, just full of the love of God. Beautiful. And so then you got married young?
No, I got married, I think, when I was like 27.
28. And then had Chloe. And Chloe's the baby?
Chloe's the baby.
Oh, what a great baby you have.
Yeah, she is.
She's a doll. She's on staff here as well. And she's just always sweet, always wants to do the right thing. She's just a good girl.
She is. She's very in tune with the Holy Spirit.
She is. She's so precious. So that's her youngest, who is a worship leader at the church. And Julie is behind the scenes doing everything. But those of you that are watching online are going to get to see these are the hands that are working with all the stuff that's getting in packages, working with all the volunteers that are doing microgreen things, right?
Yes.
So how fun. And what kinds of, well, let's back up. I don't want to jump. I keep wanting to jump into the microgreens because she's always doing that and always coming up with new ideas. But let's go through the young years. So you went through a hard time. There was a divorce, and then that was hard, and probably felt like, oh my word, what am I going to do? Right.
It was like, I felt like I was drowning.
Yeah. You feel like, how can I make it through this? But did you make it?
I did make it. But so in the middle of that, probably like 8 months into the divorce, I was stood up one day and turned, and my hip broke. And so we rushed the ambulance to the hospital, and they found that I had cancer.
Oh my goodness.
So it was multiple myeloma, which was the same thing my dad had. And I went through a bone marrow transplant.
Very intense.
Yeah, it was. But I feel like during that season, God like really bubbled me. I really felt like I was in a bubble. I mean, really, really relied on him for everything.
Well, you were already going through a divorce, and then you're going through major, major cancer, bone marrow transplant. That's intense.
It was.
How old were you?
It was 10 years ago, so 45.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
Very intense.
So while I was going through the whole cancer journey, the Lord took me on this vision. So during the divorce part, he took me on a vision. And then during this part, it was a different vision. And I started back down in the bottom of the mountain again in this huge field. And I was just like, I cannot do this again. I already walked through the other one. I can't do this. And he said, I'll carry you through it.
Oh,
so I got
precious.
Put up on these big stilts like in the Moses days. And I rode like in this chariot looking thing on top of these stilts, and these guys carried me.
So you were having encounters with Jesus all through the divorce, all through the cancer time. Wow.
So, I mean, I started at the bottom. He fed me these huge strawberries and grapes that were like this big and told me that that's the size that the fruit used to be back in the Old Testament.
It's the promised land.
So I was nourished the whole time. And then at the end of that vision, which took like, I don't know, 9 to 10 months, at the very top of the mountain, there was like a big sign that was stuck on the top of it that said healed, like in a whitewashed
Oh my
board.
goodness.
So yeah. So, I mean, it was a journey, but it was exciting. I walked through it. I'm on the other side.
That's pretty awesome, though, really. So Jesus was very close to you in the middle of all of the difficulties. So you have a really kind of a surprise in your marriage that was very harsh, right?
Yes.
And Jesus steps in and is like,
here I am.
This makes me want to cry.
I'll take you on a journey.
It's like, oh, I'm with you. Oh, this makes me want to cry.
I mean, looking back, you know, I can see how he sustained me the whole entire time, provided, cared for me. My grandma passed away right at the time when I needed to not be in my house anymore, because then it was just me and Bailey and Chloe. And so I moved into my mom's and
So you moved in with your mom when grandma died during the divorce, while Jesus is walking with you in the middle of cancer. Oh my goodness. You have been through a lot. And God has walked beside you and held your hand.
Still does.
Carried you.
Yes, carried me.
Carried you through it all. Wow, that's beautiful. And who would have ever thought, when you go back to those years when Chloe was how old when the divorce happened?
11.
11. So Chloe's just a little girl. She's very tender, sweet little girl. She's moved. Now you're moving in with grandma. And not grandpa, just grandma.
Well, my dad had already passed away, and then my mom had remarried.
Okay.
So Jerry was there, but
so step grandpa, basically, kind of a grandpa to Chloe.
Mm-hmm.
And you all moved in there and have lived there since?
Mm-hmm. So I help with my mom.
Community family.
Yes, definitely, which is nice. And it helps my mom because, you know, then she's not alone.
It's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful, wonderful. So does that mean that you had a little dog?
We had
Cooper?
Yes, we had my mom and
goodness.
Jerry had Cooper.
I didn't even realize you lived there with your mom.
Yeah.
That is so funny. So I have a puppy business, and her mom took our little stud poodle. It's really Ed Mason's.
Yeah.
But little stud poodle, and was the family
guardian.
For that. Yeah, guardian family for the little stud. Oh my goodness, that's so funny. And I didn't even realize that poodle was in your family. I mean, I knew it was your mom. I didn't know you were right there with her through that whole thing. Huh. So interesting. I'm learning stuff on this. So that's pretty fun. So you're going through the journey. Where did this whole microgreen things jump in? I mean, how did you get involved in that? What happened? You were already doing kids. I had no idea when I said, do you always have babies? You'll always have kids with you. I'm like, I have no idea what that means. Now it's hilarious.
Well, then, and plus we did the Babies Out of Bondage. And so that was in babies.
And you were part of that. Tell us the part of that you did.
So I wanted to do it since the very beginning when it first started here, but that didn't work out how I wanted it. But then I ended up getting to do it at the very end of I think Chloe was like 7 or 8. And so we had one, Giovanni.
So you took a baby while you had a 7-year-old little girl.
Had a 7-year-old and a 11-year-old.
Oh, wow.
So 2 older boys.
And you're living at grandma's?
No, this was while I was still married.
Oh, this is when you were married. Okay. That's right, because she still had dad in the home till she was 11. Gotcha.
So we had our first one, Giovanni, and we had him like 2 or 3 months, and then his mom got relocated to a facility where you could have your kids with you. Wow. So that was good. So
Babies Out of Bondage, if you haven't listened to any of the Babies Out of Bondage stuff, you should go and listen. It is tear-jerking. I'm talking to these women that gave their children to people like you that just love babies, right? They gave their children up to the church, and the women and families in the church really love those babies. So how hard was it giving Giovanni back to Mama when Mama came going, here, I'll take him now?
It wasn't that difficult because I knew I was going into it with the mindset that's like, I didn't want to keep them.
Yep.
I wanted to love on them. I wanted to pour the Lord into them. I wanted to pray over them, and give them a good foundation and a good start.
Which is exactly what we want when we're doing something like that. And I take it even back to my little silly puppy business. People are like, how could you give them away? I'm like, I'm not trying to keep the babies. I'm not trying to keep the puppies. I'm trying to find a family for them. And these babies already had families. And you're just having a heart of God going, let me hold it for you until you're stable enough to handle your baby yourself.
Definitely. The second one we had like 6 months, and his name was Robert.
Oh.
And we even went down to the prison and saw his mom and took him there so she could see him and hold him for the day. Awesome. And
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And we did.
I still pray for them that, that the Lord shows up in their life. And
that's so beautiful. So we did 175. We took
a lot.
Yeah. Lou told me 175 babies over several years. I don't know how many years, but there was a season back in the day that most of the people in the church had a baby that was coming out of the prison system. And we were holding them, loving them, caring for them, and really hoping the parents would even come and live with us and get their lives together, or us hand them off as they got homes. So it was that was such a fun season.
It was. And it was kind of, you were just basically a guardian for them.
Yeah.
Like if your sister was in prison and you took her child for a while.
Well, we're all family.
Yeah.
We just don't think about the fact that we're all here, God's kids. How can I help you? You're in the middle of a crisis. It doesn't matter whether you did something wrong to get in the crisis or not. It matters who's going to step up and be a part of being a blessing. And that's really what God wanted us to do. And it was a beautiful time.
It was wonderful.
And now here we are headed into the peace of heaven. And you'll probably end up being smack in the middle of that.
I'm sure I will.
I'm sure you will too. And even
some capacity.
Oh, you will. You will. There's too much of a heart for the kids for you not to be in the middle of it at some level. We'll see what happens. God's got a plan.
Yes.
But now God's got you in the middle of growing babies, but they're microgreens and all of it's really Chuck, and Chuck has got Bob. I call him Bob. His name is Dave. Dave involved in that piece, and he's training him. But for this last season, Chuck has been the one growing the microgreens, and Chris has come alongside at amazing levels. Chris is a saint that God sent for a season.
He is.
And we need help. So realistically, all of you out there, if you're watching and think, oh, I would love to help somewhere just for 3 months, 6 months, we're setting up a program, and it's called Embassy Builders, and people come and they live here, and sometimes they bring an RV, they live here for a season, and they jump in and help. And so we had a lady this last Sunday talking to Julie about microgreens. She's 85 years old. She's like, her name is, I'm trying to
Barbara.
Barbara. It is Barbara. Her name is Barbara. She's delightful. She's a tiny little thing. She's probably 4'10".
Yeah, she's short.
Tiny, tiny little thing. And she's 85 years old, sharp as a tack. And she's like, I'll absolutely build those capsules. I'll do that for one day a week. How wonderful is that? And so Julie has all the different, like, what all do you do? Let's talk about what's in that.
So what I don't do is I don't grow the microgreens. That's all
true.
Chuck.
Yeah,
So
it's
he
right
does all
next
the
door. They're
growing.
next door neighbors.
We are next door
Yeah,
neighbors.
Chuck has the crop box, and he's about to take time and go back to doing his reloading. He's a reloader, and he's about to do that. And so we're getting volunteers and people in place to take that on right now. But he's been doing it for a couple years.
I'm not sure how long he's been here
it's
longer
just-
than me.
Yeah.
And I've been here a little over a year.
Okay.
So
So I'm not sure either, but he knows what he's doing.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He's got that all dialed in, and he's a gift as well. But you've been doing all of the stuff you do. So what is it? Over a year you've been doing what?
So I started because Tara said, Roger needs some help, and can you go like do some admin stuff for him? And I'm like, well, I don't really know how to do that, but sure, I'll give it a go. And then I ended up not doing too much admin stuff. He taught me how to work the freeze dryers and how to capsule. And so
And then you took it from there and went in so many directions.
yeah, because then he wasn't here anymore. And so I was kind of in charge to do kind of what I wanted. So
That's pretty fun.
Yeah, it is very fun because then
And-
I can be creative to.
And what do you do? Creative to what?
Creative to, we're doing spice jars. So we grow our own herbs and then, or the garlic and then turmeric, and we powder it down. And
So purely organic,
everything's
perfectly
organic.
grown with worship music behind it. It's all,
Definitely.
there's nothing that's not perfect about that. Honestly, how wonderful.
We sell freeze dried fruits and vegetables.
Which my husband says are unbelievable. He's
I
like,
just gave him some raspberries the last time he was here because he
know.
wanted to try them.
he was raving about it. He's like, oh my word, Cheryl. So then he's buying all these freeze-dried raspberries. I'm like, hey, we're going to make those.
You have Julie make you
Yes,
some.
exactly. I'm like, he's all about it. At this point, that's his thing. He's like, these are so delicious.
They are, and you can rehydrate them too. So like you can take them and stick them in your yogurt, and then it puts the moisture back in. So
And do
then
they
they're
taste
not
like
crunchy.
they taste like they're normal.
Uh-huh.
That's really interesting.
So we do that. We're starting a new pill or a new capsule that we're gonna be making that has the celery and the wheatgrass in it, which is really good for you.
Yeah. What does that do?
So
What is that?
I know that I've had some people that can't do iron, and the microgreens have iron in them, and so the wheatgrass and the celery don't have iron in them.
Gotcha.
And then in the orders either that you get or on at our table that we sell on the weekends, there's flyers out that say like what kind of minerals and vitamins and why they're healthy for you.
Why that part is, or why the microgreens?
Yes, both.
Both.
So when
Okay.
we do the new capsules, they'll have a form or
Okay.
a sheet that says like what the wheatgrass is good for and what the celery is good for.
Yeah,
and-
celery. There's a whole Bible called the Celery Bible. And I went on a celery fast one time. Celery liquid. You make celery
You
juice.
juice it? Yeah.
Juice it. I was going to do it forever. I'm like, this is awesome. And it really is fun. I juiced it for quite some time because fasting is so good for you. And then if you take something that's really good for you as your juice, it's not delicious, but it's really good for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's delicious in the capsule because you can't taste it.
Exactly, exactly. And so then you get all of that. It's amazing.
And then you gave me the new seeds
Yeah, we're
that
talking.
we're going to talk about and
Yeah.
see about capsuling those.
Right. That is the B17.
Mm-hmm.
We're just talking. This may or may not happen. But right now, just yesterday, we were talking
Well, I'm
about.
hoping it's going to happen.
I know I am too, because I think they call it, do you know what? Laetrile. Laetrile is what you get out of the B17, which absolutely makes a massive difference in your body, kills little cancer cells, massive difference. So that's exciting. What happened to you when you started taking all the microgreens that you're you're making the capsules, right?
Yes.
And you're the guinea pig. So it's like, I better take these if this is going to be something I'm selling,
So
right?
I've been taking those consistently since the beginning of April
Mm.
last year. And you can take 1 to 2 a day. I take 2. A lot of people take 2.
Did you start by taking two? You did.
So I've always taken 2. And then I also take the wheatgrass celery one because we had some of those made up. So I also take that one that we're going to start selling as soon as I can get my celery growing.
Aha.
And then, so I did blood work the end of March of last year. And then I did it again in November of this past year. And when I went to the doctor in January, she said, I don't know what you're doing, whether you changed your diet or you're exercising. And I'm like, no, neither of those. And then she said, but your cholesterol has gone down 20 in those 8 months.
Wow.
Your good cholesterol, she said, has gone way up. She said, your blood work, like your red count, white count, and platelets, she said, is really good. And something that has to do with your liver, I can't remember what
Liver
it's called.
enzymes.
Yeah, that was always like in a high, and she goes, and that's gone way down too. So it's like, that's because of those microgreens.
So everything is leveling off. What about your blood pressure?
Well, I take blood pressure medicine.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, so it stays normal where it's supposed to stay.
You keep it in the middle.
But with the celery and the wheatgrass, if somebody who doesn't take any kind of medication has, higher blood pressure, then they could really monitor it and see.
With that'll be interesting.
If it brings it down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. I've heard that it's supposed to help.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm amazed at the different people that are telling stories about what those capsules are doing for the microgreen, particularly. The microgreen capsules are changing people's whole natural health structures. And one of the people is our friend. She's a nutritionist, and she's quite the brilliant lady. Name is Nicola. She might be a doctor. Anyway, I don't know. She's definitely got a lot of medicine behind her. And she knows a lot. Well, she tested herself frequency-wise on everything, and she knows what she's low on, what she's high, and she keeps herself really high on everything, just clean as a whistle, healthy as a little horse. She's really, really in great shape. And she started taking the microgreen capsules, and when she did, she said, I took 2, and I thought, oh, no. One is more than enough.
A lot of energy.
One is more than enough. She said, yep. She said, it took me over the top of, she said, I just know my body and I know where my nutrition levels are. And she said, I knew I went over the top of the nutrition levels with 1 capsule. She ended up with 1 capsule. She said, I can take 1 a day, but 2 sends my nutrition all the way through the roof. That's an amazing thing.
It is. And I think from what I've heard from people, depending on like what your body's lacking or what your body needs, they affect different people different ways. I mean, I have a lot of like inflammation, like when I can feel myself, and most of that has been taken away.
Wow.
So depending on, what your body wants, it pulls from those nutrients in the capsules.
Wow.
So the microgreens we grow them, we cut them. They go straight into the freeze dryer, and then we powder them. So there's nothing added to them. We don't put anything in the capsules.
It's just quite a process, though.
It is a big process.
It really is beautiful, and I love it when I can go in there and I hear worship music. To me, that's the beauty of going in there. And those little babies are growing. They just stick their heads out, and within a few days, they're grown up,
yes,
right?
They are. And I know Chuck prays over them, and he talks to them, and
That's funny. That's so funny. So cute. So it's pretty wonderful what God's doing with microgreens these days. Never did I think I would be a person that would even ever say that. But right now, I've got myself doing everything to get physically healthy and strong. And God told me that years ago. He said, Cheryl, get yourself physically healthy and strong, really physically strong. Well, I didn't even know how. I didn't. But now I look at it and I think now we're actually creating products that can help people get physically strong. And honestly, I feel totally different. I'm like, turned 65 in October. I've never felt so healthy, never felt so strong. And I'm like, yay, this is exciting. And I just take 1 a day. I should go to 2 a day, but I might not even sleep.
Well, I take them in the morning, and they affect different people different ways. I know some people take one in the morning and one at night, but I take them both in the morning because I know that it gives me energy.
That's awesome. Okay, here we are. Julie just ran and got these from the Crop Box Microgreen. What do you call your little area?
Embassy Greens.
Your Embassy Green home. It's a darling little house, and they make all this out there. Freshly grown, completely organic microgreens, and they're life changers. It's pretty amazing. And then tell us about this.
So this is the powder that we are offering. Also, it has a scoop that comes inside, and 1 scoop equals 1 capsule. A lot of people were wanting to sprinkle it on their kids' food and not having to open a capsule all the time, or people who make smoothies a lot.
Yep. This one came from our friends Nathan and Cindy Kaler in Portland. They text me. Yep. They text me during a service. They're like, is there any chance we could ever get the powder so we could put it in our smoothies? And I thought, well, maybe not. I don't know. So I asked her, and she's like, why wouldn't we do that? And right, like you said, you can trick your kids. Mm-hmm. You just sprinkle it on there. It looks like a garnish. You could use it just like paprika. It's like, paprika, or what is it? Parsley?
Yeah, parsley.
Yeah, just sprinkle it on there. You've got your microgreens already happening. Pretty fun. So these are really going to be amazing. Like if you're fasting and you take microgreen capsule, oh my word.
I have had people who fast say that they take them during fast.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah, it's like energy. It's like putting a teaspoon of honey in your cup when you're doing hot water on a fast. You feel like you ate a whole meal. So these right here during a fast would be unbelievable. A lot of people take their vitamins while they're fasting. Microgreen capsules will be amazing. So fun. And probably as you watch Julie or watch what's going on at the embassy, you'll see her come up with more and more and more products. They ended up with, what's the jerky called?
Dave called it carnivore candy.
Oh yeah, it is carnivore candy. I'm not saying it's healthy. It's got sugars. However, it's delicious.
It is delicious.
Oh my word.
The lady who makes it is part of the GT family in Grass Valley.
Right.
And she does an amazing job.
It's delicious. Honestly, I could eat that and eat it, but it doesn't really work for a carnivore diet. I'm on a carnivore diet. I love it. And it makes life so simple. I just eat meat, but that's got a little sugar in it. We have just a couple of treat type things out there, but mostly it's organic and it's natural and it's whole foods, right?
Yeah, the fruits and the vegetables are.
Yeah, completely. So exciting. And these are definitely organic, definitely whole foods in a little capsule. So fun. And we'll see if we can get the Laetrile, see if we can get that cancer preventative.
I'm starting on that this week.
Yay. So fun. She barely gets an idea and she just runs with it. So Julie, what would you say that God has taught you over the years? What would you say? One thing that you can say, you've journeyed with Jesus through all kinds of difficulty and all kinds of highs, right? He took you to the top of the mountain at the end of that journey. And then he never lets go of you. That's obvious because here you are.
Always faithful.
Yep. He's always faithful, always there. So beautiful. And he'll be there for you as you're walking through life. Sometimes there's highs, sometimes there's lows. Honestly, I look at the campus, our campus here, the Embassy of Heaven, and I know God had us name it that. And really, as the world is shaking, there's got to be a place of safety. There's got to be a place of refuge. And really, that's our heart, to create a community where in the middle,
loved, accepted.
Yep. Yeah. People are loved. They're accepted for who they are in the minute. People go through stuff, right? Life is hard sometimes, and that's okay. What Jesus is going to do is pick you up, put you on that little thing like in Egypt where they put you on a little platform and carry you through, which is what he did for you. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful watching. It's beautiful seeing the outcome of such a beautiful daughter. Oh my goodness. Chloe is our superhero. We love it when Chloe gets up there. Worship is just beautiful, beautiful. And you have a lot to be thankful for. God's done a lot of good things. Yes. And I have a lot to be thankful for because I can watch your life and just say, God, you've taken her through everything that's happened. And here she is radiating your glory and serving really you with all your heart. So God, thank you for Julie. So beautiful. Let me pray for you. And for the microgreen whole process. Look at your crown ring. That's too.
A princess ring.
It's a princess ring. I love it. That's too cute. Jesus, thank you for Julie. Thank you for Chloe. Thank you for this precious family that actually radiate your glory and love you with all their hearts and really flow in your spirit. God, thank you for the microgreens. Thank you for all of the things that the fruit of these hands, that she just loves those babies so much and holds the babies, and all of the people that she interfaces with just pours love on. God, thank you for Julie. Thank you for the gift that she is. Thank you for all that she's produced through her creativity that you put within her, as she really is co-creating with you, creating all the products out there. God, we just bless her. We bless this whole project. We bless what you're up to as you're blessing your people through all of this. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you guys haven't tried this yet, get a bottle. I think you ship them out all the time.
I do. They're online in our GT store, and Embassy Greens has their own store.
So they ship them. You just have to click on it and say, I want these, and you'll mail them to them.
And we're doing a subscribe and save. So if you purchase, I think it's 5 or no, that's 10% if you purchase 5 or more.
Okay.
And a subscribe and save if you do a monthly.
For a monthly. So if they go to getting them every day. Well, that's what I should do, because I should get them sent to my house every day instead of going, I'm out. Where are they? Ah, awesome. Thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
Yay.